Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. How are you doing today? Ready for some drama I have for you today? The first story is just crazy. I still get surprised by some people's behavior. The first story is about OP's sister, who doesn't invite OP's fiance to her wedding because she is too pretty, despite OP's paying for her wedding. Enjoy the stories, guys, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I am a computer engineer and earn pretty legit money, especially for my age. I went through all of the undergrad and most of my graduate study on full-ride scholarship. Consequently, I tend to find myself getting hit up all the time by my mom for money. Having said that, I'm kind of the black sheep of the family, and I am not terribly close to them. I don't mind giving money to my mom, especially since my dad passed away really young at only 38, car accident. But I also find that I'm paying for a lot of my sister's bills too, even though she's older than me, graduated college, and works. Unlike me, she still lives at home. I have an older brother, 30, who teaches high school biology, and he's successful and married and living on his own, but he doesn't earn as much as me. My sister is getting married in August to a Chinese professional concert violinist. Our family is white. They have an elaborate wedding planned, which will cost well over $20,000. This isn't much considering the money people blow on weddings these days, but here's their reason. They plan to have only about 50 guests. The high cost, my sister explained last April, when I was still invited, was to increase the quality of the experience for each guest. I'm not much of a social media person, and I don't have Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. My brother is the same way. And since I live in a different state from my family, they all live in New York. I'm in Los Angeles. Most of my family hasn't even met my fiancé yet. I flew out to New York last May to discuss finance plans with my sister, who is counting on me to provide the bulk of the wedding fund, to the tune of $15,000. I naturally brought my fiancé, who was eager to meet my sister. My fiancé is a former runway model and is very good looking. She graduated college recently with a degree in French literature. She's French, and works as an office assistant in a publishing office. My sister met her, and I could tell my sister, was intimidated by how pretty my soon-to-be wife is. It's not as if my sister is ugly herself, it should be said. They seem to be pleasant to each other, and though my fiancé struggles a bit with English, she thought my sister was nice. My fiancé and I speak primarily French to each other, by the way. At any rate, my sister and I discussed the wedding over lunch, and I agreed to give my sister $15,000 by check on August 1st, which will cover the venue, the food, the flowers, the tables and chairs, and various other sundries. Despite his smaller salary, my older brother is shelling out $5,000 of his hard-earned schoolteacher money, which will cover photography, music, the cake, and various sundries. Here's the ducked-up part. 2 days ago, my mother sends me an email, she wouldn't even call me, telling me that my sister doesn't think it's a good idea for me to bring my fiancé to the wedding. Naturally, I'm like, why the duck not? I didn't use the F word with my mom. My mom gave some flim-flam excuse that the wedding has only 50 guests, and that it's all close family, and that this new girl is a stranger to us. Do you even know her? Talk about condescending and mean. I explained that we are talking about my fiancé here, my mother's future daughter-in-law, my sister's future sister-in-law, and that my fiancé is family. That I'm not some borderline imbecile who will just offer an engagement ring to the first girl who offers up her body. Well, my mom can't keep a secret if her life depended on it. And eventually, I wormed it out of her that my sister thinks my fiancé will upstage her in wedding photos. That since I, as my sister's brother, have a place of honor next to my other brother, beside her at the head table, together with all of our significant others, that my model wife will look completely out of place. That since there are only about 50 guests, my fiancé will look hotter and more striking than the bride. My mom made it a point to remind me that I myself was still invited. I told her that this was an insult. She told me that it's my sister's big day, and that I should accede to her wishes since she's the bride. My mom graciously offered to let my fiancé attend the wedding if she was seated away from the main table. Duck that. This is my fiancé. Her place is with me. My sister's the only one who will be dressed all in white, and she will be clearly identifiable as the bride. It's not as if my fiance is going to show up my sister's wedding in a loud, attention-getting dress or in a short skirt. She will dress in a dignified, formal manner in keeping with the occasion. She can't help it if she is tall, skinny, and has a pretty face. I explained this all to my mom, but she said my sister is pretty adamant about it. I tried to call my sister immediately and text her too, but my sister is completely shutting me out and ignoring me, and letting my mom do all the dirty work. I'm hurt that my sister would do this. We've never been close growing up, but I'm her brother, and I'm paying for most of the wedding. Let me rephrase that. I'm her younger brother, not her father, and yet I'm paying for her wedding. Her, my older sister. And I'm also hurt that my mom would go along with it. The same mom who told me my dreams of going to college for computer science were stupid and didn't help me in school. But now gladly takes the $2,000 checks I give her every month. I told my fiance exactly what my mom said. My fiance said that she would stay home, but she was clearly crushed. I mean crushed. As in, I could hear her crying last night when she thought I was asleep, kind of crushed. She feels left out. She even offered to dress in a frumpy outfit and not to do her hair or makeup and make sure she didn't look good. Duck that. I told my other brother, and he was pissed off. He said that if I am not going to the wedding, he's not going either, and he told me that neither of us should pay for it. I'm in a quandary here because I gave my word of honor to my sister that I would pay, and I'm not one who breaks his word. Also, my mom says that I'm ruining the wedding by being childish and that I'm turning my older brother against our sister. My sister has no comment. She's ensconced in New York, probably ducking her violinist future husband, what's-his-dork. And even though his family is rich because he's pretty well known, they're traditional. And my family is traditional, in that the bride's family pays. My mom doesn't have the money to pay for it herself, and I don't want my mom trashing me to all our family. Maybe they're already talking mad crap on Facebook. What do I do? I think it's about time to stop paying for everything. No wedding check, no monthly checks to OP's mother either. They've shown OP that they clearly disrespect him and his fiancée, but they're definitely not above taking his money. OP's brother is awesome for showing solidarity like this. OP should let his sister and his mother dig themselves out of the hole they've put themselves into. OP should stand his ground. I will try to make this as short as possible. I am 25, living with my mom who is single. I have never been out on my own before and have lived with her all my life. For what it's worth, I believe my mother has narcissistic tendencies. She is extremely controlling and invasive. I have had the lock taken off my door several times. She has opened my bank statement several times. Anytime I am on my phone, I am asked who I am talking to. You get the idea. For a few years now, I have had the urge to move out and live on my own and establish my own life. I see people my age, even younger, moved out and living their life, traveling, dating, etc. And I can't help but feel envious and resentful, which in itself is not good, I know. I work as a registered nurse and would be able to make a decent amount to live on my own. My 23-year-old brother lives with us too. He pays her $400 a month. I also pay my mother $600 in rent every month, which is excluding when she asks for money to split for things like groceries and household items. I pay all my own bills as well. Car lease, car insurance, health insurance, phone bill, groceries that I buy myself, dog food, etc. So I am definitely not a leech or anything like that. She owns her house and owns her car. She works per diem as a CNA in a hospital and is trying to go back to school to become an LPN because she does not make much income, about $14 to $15K annually. Every time I have expressed my desire to move out, she transforms into a crying, screaming child. She lays on heavy guilt trips and makes me feel awful about wanting to abandon her and turn my back on my family. I offered to help her financially if she needs it while I'm moving out, but she tells me she doesn't want that. I told her maybe she should work full-time or part-time or take a loan out for school, all of which she has refused. The only option that will make her happy is if I stay living with her throughout her schooling, about a year or a little more. because she tells me she will be in classes Monday through Friday from 7 to 3 p.m. and won't have an opportunity to support herself while going to school. She will hold up the fact that she set up a college fund while I was a baby over my head, and I should be able to pay her back for that by helping her with school. She will make me feel guilty over the fact that she fought with my dad for child support to help raise me and my brother. She has a bachelor's in finance, but has never had a job related to it since she achieved it in 2006. She will say I used her by living with her after 18, not helping with anything, when the only reason I was not working was because I was a full-time student, as well as told not to work because my dad would not give her the monthly money she is owed. I expressed desires to work, but they were constantly shut down by her because she needed my dad's money, and if he found out I was working, he wouldn't give it to her apparently. She will tell me she won't have any retirement money or any way to support herself because she hasn't been working long enough to establish that and end up destitute. My ex-boyfriend was living with me in her house for around 5 years, 2013 through 2018. He was working most of it and was paying her $800 a month to live there. He helped out as well. He paid for half of the new fridge we have and half of the new central AC for the house. He was saving up money while he worked, and he had managed to save around $26K. When we broke up in 2018, he left her $16K of that money to help her before he left back to his home country. I have no idea what she has done with that money. I don't ask because it's none of my business. She did work in retail for a few years before becoming a CNA, so it's not like she can't work. I don't feel like I am the reason I have held her back from school or advancing in life. It feels awful because she is my mom and I want her to be okay, but I'm 5 years away from 30. I will be 26 in October. I don't want all my 20s to go by and end up having them wasted sitting in my mother's house and become resentful towards her because I have already begun to feel that. I went out and got a new lease today because the old one I had was under my father's name, so I wouldn't have been able to take that and register it out of state if I do move to another state. The entire time at the dealership, I felt nervous, guilty. I felt like crying. I was nauseous because all I thought about was how my mother would feel about it. She now thinks that I am trying to upstage her by leasing a brand new 2019 car, while she is driving a 2007 SUV. That is not the case at all. I am sorry. There is probably a lot more I can write, but I feel this is getting a bit jumbled. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you. OP needs to move out. OP's mom is a grown woman and shouldn't be dependent on her kids. It sounds like she just wants to remain in control of OP, and she can't do that as much if OP doesn't live with her. Life is short, and OP's 20s should be for fun, getting to know herself, and doing the things she wants to do. You don't want to look back with regrets. OP should be firm with her mom. It will be hard, but there comes a point where OP has to love her own life. If OP's mom tries to guilt trip her by saying she has looked after OP, etc., then OP should congratulate her on doing her job as a parent. My late wife and I were teen parents. We'd been dating for 4 years at that stage and been friends forever. My wife was promptly disowned by her parents and came to live with my parents and me. My parents chose to support whatever we chose to do, which was keep the pregnancy. They had also adored my late wife for years and would joke, at least she's part of the family forever. I stayed in school and got a part-time job while my wife dropped out, but got the equivalent of a high school certificate through other means. We lived with my parents who supported us financially. Instead of going to university, I learned a trade so as not to put our little family in debt. As soon as our daughter started school, my wife started working too. When I finished my apprenticeship, I proposed to my late wife. We had a small ceremony. My parents wanted us to stay with them until we saved up money for a house deposit, so we did. By 2011, at just 22, we bought a small home, mostly thanks to having amazing parents who let us live rent-free for years. In 2013, my wife died, hit by a drunk driver. I was devastated. The dude only got 3 years. I would see his family around town. These people tried to paint the scum in the victim light, following the loss of my wife. Whenever I saw them, I felt anger rising in me. I decided to move away for this reason. Also, because I didn't want to have to see the scum when he got out. I moved several hours away. My parents said they'd follow me when my dad retires in a couple years, as they also wanted to get out before the scum got out. I was devastated, but tried to do right by my daughter. I got her into therapy, which seemed to help, and sports to help get some anger out. Last year, I decided to get out there and find love again. I finally felt ready. I met my current girlfriend on a dating app. We've been dating for just over a year, though it took 7 months for me to introduce her to my daughter, simply because I wanted to see how serious it was going to be. I don't want people walking in and out of her life. Yesterday, a good friend of mine sent me screenshots from some Facebook group that they, and also girlfriend, are in. Basically, somebody in the group shared a post of a woman complaining about how they feel uncomfortable when their husband compliments his, not their, daughter's looks, because it's basically like complimenting his ex. I assume this is because the daughters supposedly look like their moms. My girlfriend commented, saying how she feels the same way, and it bothers her when I compliment my daughter more than I do her, because she feels like I'm calling my late wife prettier or something. Someone replied saying she shouldn't be dating a man with kids then, and she in return said she shouldn't have to limit her dating opportunities because some men put exes before their new chick. I'm at a loss here. This seems evil to me, Disney villain evil, the type of evil that I didn't think existed outside of movies. Yet at the same time, she's been a good partner to me and has been nice to my daughter. I haven't noticed any red flags. Is this normal? Is this okay? I'm honestly at a loss here. I don't have a lot of friends apart from the one who sent me the screenshots. Certainly not any I can confide this sort of thing in. I don't want to bring my relationship problems to my parents either, as I think that can ruin chances of a healthy in-law relationship. Any advice would be appreciated. No, it's not normal. OP's friend sent OP that for a reason. They saw the red flag. Now OP has seen it too. OP's late wife is not an ex. OP's girlfriend wouldn't even be in the picture had tragedy not struck OP and his poor daughter. That's not the type of person OP wants around his child. That's an evil stepmother who drives a wedge between a father and his child.